Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. I bring you tips, advice, and guest stories about creating work you love. Whatever type of career or business you have or want, I want to help you find more meaning, money, and happiness. Now we are live from Hollywood. Hello, and welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I'm your host, Michelle Perkins, and I have a fabulous guest with me today, and I'm so excited to bring her on that I'm just going to jump right in. So we are very, very fortunate to have her, and she is one, Shannon O'Dowd is one who can really help you in so many ways with whatever career you have, whether it's as a performer or a celebrity or a business owner or a CEO of your own company, anyone in the corporate world, or in the entertainment business. Shannon is amazing at helping with all kinds of communication, presenting, branding, and on-camera work. So I'm going to introduce her and give you a little background on who she is. Shannon O'Dowd is a TV host as well as an on-camera coach and a mentor specializing in all kinds of on-camera work for TV hosts, influencers, and experts. She's worked on both sides of the camera for well over a decade. As an on-camera talent, she's been the spokesperson for several national commercial campaigns, including Wayfair, Chewy.com, Jenny Craig, and so many more that you've heard of. As a host, she's done QVC, as well as being the face of many spots in the infomercial world, including Keurig, Aerobed, I'm the one who can't speak today, and many, many others. As an on-camera coach, she has had clients on The Today Show, Entertainment Tonight, The Doctors, HGTV, Hallmark, and so many other networks. Her training focuses on camera technique, laser-sharp career guidance, which I love, and bringing out the unique you during your performances that will pave the way to successful appearances and a career on camera. So we're going to jump in and talk about all the many things that Shannon does and bring her on right now. So Shannon, welcome. So glad that you're here today.
I'm so glad to be here.
So you have had such a beautiful, interesting career that you have really designed and continue to design. And since we like to talk about career creation and all kinds of interesting work that people find fulfilling, fun, and financially prosperous on this show, can you tell us a little about your background and your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Oh, goodness. Yes, of course. So I started out as an actor. I did a soap for about a year. And then after that, I moved on to be a series regular on a medical drama. And then the writer's strike happened in 2007. It was 2007. And my show did not get renewed for a second season. And I had quit my day job at that point. So I was really nervous about how I was going to make it, and I was going to make money. And I started auditioning for commercials. And I found myself, I was auditioning for a Sunsweet Raisins commercial. And I was supposed to be like this person that tasted the raisins and said they were good. And it was just like this simple job, right? And I walked in and they said, you kind of look like you're like the right look for the spokesperson, and we've been seeing people all day and we haven't found anyone. Would you read for the spokesperson? And it was like all this copy direct into camera, and I was so nervous. Went out in the street and started pacing and tried to memorize the lines, but I ended up booking the job. And so I was the Sunsweet Raisin spokesperson, and I would travel and do like farmers markets, and I did their radio spots, and their commercials, and I just really loved it. There was something so easy about just getting to be myself and talking into the camera and sharing information, and I didn't have to do a bunch of character work. And I said, this might be my thing. So nice. From there, I started auditioning for infomercials, and then I got booked on a product for QVC, and it just kind of took off from there.
I love that. So Yeah, so you were definitely enjoying it. You weren't doing it as a way to just, use up time while you were trying to
Well,
do
I
other
think
things.
initially I was like, I got to pay the bills, and
Yeah.
commercials are a thing that people do. And I mean, especially back in those days, the commercial industry's really changed and the rates are not what they used to be. But in those days, a lot of serious actors would do commercials to pay the bills.
Although you
So
still
that
see
was
that, so
started.
yeah.
But then I was like, I have to say, I ended up liking it way more than acting, which was a surprise to me.
Yeah,
So,
very
yeah.
interesting. I love that. So, okay, so that was a career that took off and was doing really well. And
Mhm.
so then how have you sort of transitioned into some of the newer work that you do?
Well, when I first started to get into hosting, I decided to take a class. And I took with Suzanne Senna, she's a great teacher. And after I finished her class, she said, "You're really great. Do you want to teach?" And I was like, "I don't know how to teach." But she said, "I think you do." And so she made me teach her level one. And I say made me because I didn't think I would like it or be good at it. And then I ended up just loving it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I taught for her for many years. And then I decided to kind of break off and do my own thing and start media training and teaching aspiring hosts and social media people. And it's just kind of taken on a life of its own.
Wow. Well, and the
Yeah.
timing is kind of perfect with the way social media and YouTube and things like that have been taking off and creating a whole
I think
brand
so.
new
It is.
avenue.
It's been kind of a beautiful coincidence that the need for video content is really everywhere right now and
Right.
relatively new
Right.
for a lot of brands and businesses to take on, and having to start those kind of wings of their companies. So
Right.
yeah, it's been a happy accident.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you tried new things and you ended up loving them. I mean, that's a kind of a good lesson in there for people who are unclear about where to go with their career because you don't know what you don't know. And so you tried some things and surprised yourself, which is what people need to do. But
I think so. It was funny. I had a really good friend who was a commercial director at the time. I was, kind of starting hosting, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to start to audition for commercials. And he was like, "Yeah, I think you'd be a really good host." And I was like, "What is a host?" Like I didn't even know what that meant,
right, right.
So, yeah, it was kind of a surprise to me. But I really do enjoy what I do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people out there, me included, watch the host and wonder kind of, okay, well, it's different than theatrical acting. How do you get to do that? And what even is that? It's kind of this thing that people don't really understand how you
Yeah,
work your way in
yeah.
there.
And yeah, that is so much of a lot of what my training consists of is, how do you navigate this world? Because it isn't acting,
Right.
it's different. And, the nice thing about this world is that you can go out and shoot your own footage with yourself as a host and put together a reel and start to get work. You
Right.
really just need to be able to demonstrate that you can possess the skill set. It doesn't have to be this large background of legitimate work you've done. You just really need to be able to demonstrate the skill.
Right. Okay. So, what do you find people who come to work with you? What are you finding to be some of the biggest issues and challenges that they face that they want your help with?
The two questions that I get asked most often are, how do I handle nervousness? And how do I get an agent?
Okay.
I mean, they seem kind of
Yeah.
very opposite, but yeah. People, we're as a culture, we're really trained to look good all the time and to do it right, and it really can plague us when we get to a place where we're having to be vulnerable at that level,
Right.
because you're not hiding behind a character, you're really being you, presenting information. So that can bring up a lot of nerves for people. So handling that is one area of specialty for me, especially since I really dealt with nerves early in my career. And
I
then
think that's always interesting to people too, because they don't necessarily think that's the case with people. Yeah.
Total introvert. It really was hard for me for a while in my early career. And then the other thing is, because people think, oh, if I just get an agent, then, everything will be solved. Somebody will just get me jobs and then I'll have a career, which always kind of makes me chuckle, because that's not really exactly how it works.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. And you also work with, you do work with business people as well. And more business people are needing to be on camera, but even if being on camera isn't part of the scenario, people need to be comfortable presenting, speaking up in meetings, doing all kinds of leadership kind of, roles. And so how do you see that world benefiting from what you do?
Well, I think what I do is teach people to be authentic and connected in front of others.
Yeah.
So, obviously if that's in a camera lens, you have to take in that there is camera technique involved in that, which would be a little bit different than presenting on a stage if you're doing a keynote or some sort of presentation. But I think the fundamentals is kind of, it's the same. It's universal,
Right.
I use camera a lot, even with my people who, don't ever intend to be on camera, because I find that recording people and showing them playback of what they think they're doing and how they think they're coming off versus what everybody else is seeing. I find it to be the most powerful tool, whether their goal is to eventually do video content or not.
I have to tell you, I had the most interesting conversation yesterday, and I was thinking about you the whole time, because this woman that I met with was telling me she's a really, really amazing photographer, and she now has more of a kind of a marketing branding company. And but she used to work in television marketing with Warner Brothers, I believe. And so we were talking, and she was saying from a photographer's point of view, she would watch people in every week. There was a big executive meeting, and she would sort of be sitting, kind of in the back, and the executives were around the table, and so she would just observe everybody, and she would watch everybody like a photographer watches people, so she could capture certain things. And she said it was so fascinating, because they had this meeting every week, and the people would get so nervous, and these are executive level people. And it's just speaking up in a meeting that they do every week. And yet she could see, people just getting flush, and people, the way they would, especially the women, honestly, and just how difficult it was for them to speak up in these meetings. And so, and I just thought of you, because I thought, there's so much benefit to having better skills where when you're speaking in public and being yourself, because she was also commenting that nobody really sounded like they did normally out in the hallway. They were putting on this whole persona.
No, because we're hardwired to feel self-conscious and to watch ourselves.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to see anybody be perfectly perfect and do it right. But we just have this idea that I just have to do it right, and no, we want to see a human being human. And, sometimes you're going to misspeak. And if you have a laugh about that, then everybody gets to enjoy you,
Right.
It's really just breaking people out of that mindset and giving them the freedom to just be present in the room. And, there's physical preparation, relaxation techniques I do with people. There's physical, there's actual, how do you plan out your speech so that you can be more present and available. There's a lot of tricks to kind of move yourself away from.
This isn't the first dog that's joined the show. Yeah.
My dog, he's such a cliche, the mailman. But this is a great example. I could be like, oh my gosh, we're recording this podcast. My dog started barking. This didn't go perfect. I could totally get in my head about this and, feel really terrible, and self-conscious. But this is life, and we're going to move on, and it's going to be fine. And, just exploring that and giving yourself that kind of permission. It's just, it's a bigger deal than I think people realize.
Yes. And I'm watching you and I'm seeing how just completely natural and easy you're making this look. I mean, it's just, I think anybody watching you would be just going, wow, it looks like there's nothing to it, and yet there's something to it. And
there's totally something to it. And I could be totally transparent with you. We got on this call and I'm like, what if the mail person, what if somebody comes to the door? Like, maybe I should have put the dogs in another room so they don't, start scratching themselves, or like, what if a call comes in? Like, right. I had that. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can. This is life. And like, at some point you just kind of have to let the moment be the moment. So yeah, I mean, those instincts still come up for me. It's just the way that I talk to myself through them that I've adjusted.
Well, okay, so we're being transparent. So I kind of screwed up your intro, to be honest. I couldn't see very well, and I wasn't really able to do a good job with that. So I'm going to ask you to tell us a couple examples.
I don't think you screwed it up.
Oh, I do. Okay. But I don't think I did you justice. And I'd love for you to just tell us a couple of clients that you've worked with, because you worked with a lot of people that we see out there hosting and doing various things. And so what did you work, on with them, and what are they doing? What are they doing now after the work you've done with them?
Well, that's a big question.
It is.
Let's hear. I think that, Karamo is just blowing up like crazy. Karamo Brown from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and I think he's on the season of Dancing with the Stars too.
Yeah. Okay.
When he came and trained with me, he had done Real World, and that was it. And he was like, how can I leverage this into a hosting career? So I was his very first teacher. And he's obviously doing amazing now. And I've got, testimonial from him on my website and everything like that.
You have beautiful testimonials on your website, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. And for him, it was just like, smart. He was smart. He was like, how can I build on the momentum of what I've done in the past and leverage it into something else? So, it was great. I have Jason Carter, who's on Entertainment Tonight, who's just so incredibly talented. And he's just doing awesome. And Carrie Lachlan, who's on the new season of Extreme Home Makeover. Nice. She's trained with me for like 10 years now. When she first came to me, she was a home organization expert.
Wow.
And she really wanted to be a host. And she said, how can I take my eye for organizing people and turn this into a brand? So, we did video footage for that. We put together a reel for her. Again, not long after that, she got, and she's incredibly funny, and she was a dancer, and she was great at improv, and she just, she was such a fun package. And, she just really worked hard and got her materials together. And not long after that, she got Hotel Impossible on the Travel Channel.
Oh, wow. Cool.
From there, she wanted to move to Philly with her family to make a little simpler of a life. So we got her Casper. She was the Casper spokesperson for QVC.
Wow.
And then she was like, just recently she's like, I want to do, and she used her background in design and home organization, and she got Extreme Home Makeover. She's one of the 4 or 5 hosts on that show now. So she's doing awesome.
That's so fantastic.
There's many more.
Those are great.
But, those are just the people that kind of are, top of mind right now.
That's excellent. And what I think really, one of the things I love is you're a media trainer. You train people how to look and sound amazing on camera, but you also help them, with their career, which is a whole separate kind of thing. So to take it really to that next level, because it's one thing to improve your skills, but then, then you need to know how to take that somewhere and what to do with it and who to talk to. And so.
I taught classes for a long time, and I did kind of feel like, it wasn't complete.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, these people have these great skills now. Like, how do they go out and, take on the world?
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up, when I started doing kind of the career coaching component, I was like, okay, I really felt like I was able to move people down the field, and really enjoyed going through people's headshots and helping them format their resumes and tackle, which agents would be best for them. So I kind of have a secret love of like putting really good emails together. So it's kind of works out for everybody.
That's great. And that's a huge thing. I mean, that really allows them to take what you've taught them and use it, because it could kind of easily stop.
Yeah. And I don't, like if they're not out in the world, doing this work, like that reflects on me as a coach. So I want everybody to win. Like I'm the cheerleader I feel like I've got this huge, like, I'm like a mama to all these people, and I want them all just to do so well. So being able to career coach people really makes me feel like I can make more of an impact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a huge, really important component of what you do. So I just love that. I think that's unique. So, and it shows your interest too in really seeing them, take these skills and become successful with them, not just learn them and so. So what else do you have? What else do you have going on and coming up? And what are some of the the types of work that you're doing, maybe in corporate, that people might not even think about?
Yes. So I wrote a book. The ultimate.
There it is.
Camera guidebook for hosts, experts, and influencers, and that's available on both Barnes and Noble and Amazon.
And it's called the Ultra On Camera Guidebook.
The ultimate.
Sorry, the ultimate on-camera guidebook.
No, it's a mouthful.
It's perfect, though. It says exactly.
I wrote it with Jackie Jordan, who comes from the talk show space. She was a producer in that world for a long time. So we have really different, but I think valuable perspectives in, just how to help people, and really, like, it's on camera technique, it's career advice, like it's really got a lot of good information in there.
It's great.
So I did that, and then I'm launching a weekend workshop. So this is in addition to my individual coaching and my ongoing classes that I teach. I'm doing an on-camera workshop. It's a Friday night, Saturday full day, and then an optional Sunday with kind of like a la carte items.
Nice.
And that's November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's going to take place at the Garland Hotel, which is kind of like Universal City-ish area.
Yeah, wonderful.
But 10 minutes from Burbank Airport, so that's really convenient for people if they want to fly in. And I really just so many people on Instagram especially have reached out and have been like, will you ever come to Chicago? Can you come to Atlanta? Can you just do something on a weekend? So I wanted to kind of condense a lot of the information and give people an opportunity to get trained. I'm also bringing in agents and managers and publicists and, some of these people that I've talked about as talent to kind of, give people advice. And, I really just wanted to have so much value on camera technique and business advice that people could feel like they left the weekend and really have some tools, some implementable tools and actionable items so they could get results. And then on Sunday, there's like, if you want to get headshots done, that's an option. Nice. If you want to get footage for your reel, you can do that. Wow. If you want to build a website and a logo, but those are all kind of optional items that are available.
Right. Oh, that sounds fantastic. So people can really come away from that weekend, I'm sure, inspired, and then also fairly, well-trained and with a sort of a strategic direction for where they want to take it.
Yeah, that was really ultimately the goal. I wanted to give, measurable steps for people and kind of demystify the process so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. Yeah. And it's not just for aspiring hosts, though it's great for that. I also want to, the content's geared towards YouTubers, people who are experts in their field, doctors, lawyers, interior designers who want to be on TV talking about their expertise, as well as, people who are entrepreneurs and have a brand, and they know they need to do strong video content. Like,
absolutely.
it really is to encapsulate all of those different categories.
Right, right. And leaders of companies these days, they are giving a lot of talks, outside of their own companies. They're being asked to speak all over on their expertise or their company culture or whatever it is. And it's a wonderful way for people to learn, and so the better they are at presenting and showing up that way, the better for them and the better for, everybody watching them. So I see more and more.
And just to piggyback off of that, in January, we'll be doing OnPoint Workshop, which is just strictly public speaking, corporate performance training, sales conversations, keynotes. So that's also great for like the corporate realm as well.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Yeah. Okay.
That's
wonderful. So can you tell, well, at the end, we'll let you tell everybody how they get a hold of you, how they find out about the workshops. I wanted to ask you a little, just as you go through this process, and I always like to ask guests about their money mindset just a little bit, because I think that plays such a big role in anybody's life, but particularly people who are entrepreneurs, and even more people who are in any aspect of entertainment, because that's an area where money does some funny things. It can come in big lumps and then go away for a while. And, so it's a little complicated, actually, to have a really solid, healthy kind of relationship with money. So maybe a couple of things that have kind of either surprised you or, made you think a little bit, or maybe served you in the way you've been growing, your own career in business, and how you've dealt with money issues. I know we don't have that long, so you don't have to talk about this too long. This painful subject.
It's an interesting conversation, and honestly, Michelle, I don't know that is my strongest area. It's an area that I still struggle, and especially when you're taking on huge weekend workshops, and you have to pay all the money up front for the hotel, and have to have faith, build it and they will come, that it's all going to work out, but I also know that in the back of my mind, you can't really get big rewards without, big risks. So at the end of the day, I think I've been smart. When I booked big jobs, I knew that I wasn't used to seeing that much money in my bank account at once. So I made sure to save it, and I got it out of my immediate view. And, I did the Roth IRAs, and I did the investing, and I really knew that I kind of had to do that, because if I just had it sitting in my checking account, like, who knows what would have happened. So I think I've been really responsible about planning and trying to think of myself as the CEO of my own company, and that it's weird, but the brand and the business is me, but I'm still the CEO of my own company, and I have to handle the finances in a responsible manner. So
I love that. That's actually a really great answer, because that's not typically what I hear. Usually, money comes in like that, and that is so incredibly smart to basically get it out of your whole view. So, out of sight, out of mind.
It would make me uncomfortable.
Well, and it does make people uncomfortable, and what they do is they spend it all. So that way it's out of their view too.
That's the thing. And I get why that happens to people, because it's like, oh, wow, I'm not used to having this much money. I'm used to having this much money.
Yeah.
So I need to get myself back to this much money so I can feel comfortable.
Exactly.
So I just really was like, I'm going to put it over there so I can't look at it. I'm going to put it over there so I can't look at it. And it's going to build and accrue and do what it's supposed to do. But yeah. And then sometimes I'll be like, oh, I need a little bit more money, but you know what? I'm never going to be like homeless on the street, because I've made smart business decisions on my path. So
yeah, that's really, really smart and really interesting that you had the insight to do that. And you're unique in the sense that you're a creative person with a creative type of career, but at the same time, you've definitely designated yourself as CEO and taken on that role as well, and taken on the idea that I'm also a business person, because a lot of people have difficulty with that. And, they think of themselves as a creative person and not a business person. And then they make a lot of, decisions that aren't necessarily all that smart from a business standpoint, but they don't really recognize that they're doing that. So,
well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I have a degree in theater.
Right.
And I could teach you. I mean, I could do Meisner all day long, but I didn't know how to manage my money, or how to navigate an acting career, because it's still a career. I mean, it's still a business, and I think that's been kind of the most kind of heartbreaking thing about just seeing people that I went to theater school with, or grew up with in some capacity, that were incredibly talented, but didn't quickly see that they needed to develop a business sense.
Right.
And unless you get like that, you get like not discovered, but you get lucky and you get that team built around you really fast. You have to be your own team. And I think, just moving here and not getting work the first couple of years I lived here, like, at all. I don't think I even, booked my first paying job until like 3 or 4 years living here.
Interesting.
I produced because I was like, I have to produce my own content. That's the only way I'm going to get to act. And it was it was a happy accident, because I learned the business. And then I was like, oh, okay, I can insert myself in this business as talent. But really, first and foremost, I was a line producer. I was producing content. So I got to see it from a whole different vantage point.
And do you think that contributes to your business sense?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And I think I also love that. I think I also love my producer side of my brain, and I love the talent, and I love to get to do both.
Wow.
And I find that if I'm over here for too long, I really miss being on camera. If I'm on camera too much, I'm like, I just want to build something. I just want to create a new project, So like, I think it absolutely has contributed to where I ended up.
Boy, that's really interesting, actually, and great that you're modeling that for other creative folks, because it's really important for people to see. And that is a dilemma in a lot of areas, not just creative areas, but in the world of medical care, doctors, dentists, all those folks. They get out of school and they want to do their craft, they want to do their medicine, and they don't think they don't recognize that they're now practice owners and business owners, and they have to pay attention to all of that. So I think you sound like you just sort of innately got that, and you jumped into it, and you actually like both sides, which I think a lot of people can like both sides if they let themselves. A lot of them don't recognize that they could also be good business people and make that really work. But
I really liked both sides.
Yeah, really interesting. I love that. I love that you've been so open to a variety of ways to go in your career. And don't you feel like that sort of open-mindedness has helped you to take on a lot of different things?
Yeah, I guess in hindsight, I was relatively open-minded. I think I operated with a fair amount of surrender. I was like, I don't know really how this is going to go, but I'm open. I think I learned pretty early on that me being very effort driven, and, like, I wanted to be, ever since I was 16, I wanted to be in some sort of episodic, and I wanted to be like either a lawyer or a detective, and I wanted to be a series regular, and that's what I wanted for my life.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I had that opportunity, and then that opportunity went away. But I think it all happened on time and on purpose, because I really, really love what I ended up doing, and I would have never sought this out.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Never pursued hosting like that.
Yeah, well, and I have this conversation a lot. You can set that intention out there, and then a lot of things will show up in forms you don't expect. And so you want to be really ready for those opportunities that you might not even recognize that come along. And it's really interesting, and you're a good example of that. So Yeah, wonderful. So tell us a little more about how people can. Well, first of all, if you can give us maybe maybe 3 tips for people who are going on camera and want to do a better job, or about to stand on a stage and are nervous. Is there any quickie tips that we can offer people?
Oh, yeah. How do I do just 3 is the question.
Oh, well, whatever you want. I don't want you to
Okay.
give them all away.
So for camera,
Okay.
I think that a lot of people have the misconception that when they're speaking into camera, giving information, that they need to stare down the barrel of the lens. I don't know if anybody's going to be listening to this just audio, Michelle.
They will be. It's going to go to iTunes and
You can't see me right now, but when you stare at people, when you talk to them, and you don't take any break from just staring at them, you will make them incredibly uncomfortable. Okay.
Yeah.
And somebody watching you as a viewer will have the same experience if you just stare down the barrel of the lens. Okay. It also, like, we can see your wheels churning. It's just very unsettling.
I love that as I stare at the camera, because they told me once, look at the camera. So that's what I do. Yeah.
But like, we don't do that as human beings.
Right.
We'll take a little aside to gather our thought. We'll, kind of look up and try to remember something. And when you see hosts doing that on camera, you won't even realize it until I just pointed it out to you.
Yeah.
But it does make the performance so much more natural.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean all the time you're staring all the way around the room. You're still very much mostly into the lens.
Right.
But those moments of collecting a thought, they're minute, but they really smooth out and make a performance that much more natural into camera.
Okay.
Second tip would probably be, this is for anybody that's either talking into camera or giving a speech or a presentation. Big belly breaths are everything. If you don't have proper breath support, you are going to send messaging to your brain that you are in distress, and you will get more and more nervous, and you will lose more control of your faculties. Breathing, your pitch. You might start sweating, because your brain is going to be like, we are in danger. We have to get out of here. And you're going to have those same sort of responses. So when you do deep belly breathing, and, that really just means you make your belly as big as possible and try to push all that air down. If your chest goes up or your shoulders go up, you're not breathing correctly.
Oh, wow.
You take that big belly breath and you use that air to go through an entire phrase of what you're saying. You also speak slow and low. You're actually sending messaging to your brain that you're okay, that everything is okay, that there's nothing you need to be running from. And then your whole nervous system starts to calm down.
Wow. That is,
You actually go from the reptilian part of your brain, which is fight or flight, back into your cerebral cortex when you have proper breath control. And you can't be creative in fight or flight in your reptilian brain. You can be creative in your cerebral cortex. So that's
so interesting.
Everything.
Yeah. And everything you're saying, I'm going back to, honestly, the world's worst presentation ever given that I gave in MBA school. And it was exactly that. I couldn't breathe. all I could think about was how I was going to pass out.
But we always think, oh, well, there's nothing I could have done. I just lost control. The train just went on without me.
Yeah.
But you really can. You can really tell your body. And you say things, I'm okay. Everything's okay.
Right.
We're going to be fine. And you do deep belly breaths and you start talking slower and lower, and your body will follow suit. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
You can actually get yourself back on the track and you are back in control.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big one.
That's a big one. Yeah. I took the path of talking as fast as I possibly could just to get it over with, and it was a disaster.
Well, that's the thing. And I think it's counterintuitive for people to talk slow and low when they get nervous, because they're just trying to get out of the situation.
Yeah.
I got to get through this as quickly as possible. But you're really sending messaging to your brain that you're in distress when you do that.
Okay. All right. One more.
So
these are good.
Hard time deciding what I should talk about. Let's see. I'll do this one because we may have a lot of people out there that are just kind of creating their own content. I really encourage people, unless you're using prompter and you're really, really good at teleprompter, I really recommend that people bullet point whenever they're doing any kind of content to others. I don't recommend fully scripting everything out, memorizing it, and trying to regurgitate it, because it will keep you from being present in the moment. If you have bullet points, it's like a roadmap for you. And you can be like, okay, I know that I have a safety net beneath me. I know I'm going to go here, then there, and then I'm going to wrap up over there, right? But it allows you to be present in the moment that whole time through. Right. And then you have little moments of inspiration where you're like, oh, I'm going to tell a little joke here, or oh, I'm going to have a little anecdote here. It leaves room for life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Those are great.
And when you do that, the one little caveat that I have, I recommend recording yourself on video, even on your iPhone, watching playback, because that's when you start to catch those little ticks, like the little, maybe you say a lot, maybe you say okay to end every phrase, and then you can start to work on fixing those. But I think that being present is so much more important than just reading. There's a reason why it's not called public reading. It's called public speaking.
I love that. So I know there's so much more that you have to offer people, and we have a couple of minutes. So if you would tell people how to find you, where the information is on the workshop, go for it.
Sure, absolutely. So my workshop is, again, it's in Los Angeles, but pretty close to Burbank Airport, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's oncameraworkshop.com. I actually have a $50 off coupon for your listeners.
Oh, thank you. Lovely.
It's the coupon code is SAVE50. So you can put that in there if you want to save
$50. Okay.
My website is shannonodowd.com. Very easy. You can schedule a 10-minute complimentary call with me there. If you're interested in working with me, I can answer any questions. And also, I have a lot of content on YouTube. I do YouTube as well, but also Instagram.
I was just going to say, you've got a great Instagram. So how do they?
Yeah. My Instagram is a little bit more, but that's a little bit more where I put my energy and attention. It's the Shannon O'Dowd, and I have a lot of teaching videos on Instagram.
That's great. Yeah. Well, Shannon, I so appreciate you coming on. You're a busy woman and you have so many things going on, and I really am so happy that you were able to come on the show. And thank you. I hope people will take advantage of your Save 50 offer, because that's really valuable, and your workshop's going to be amazing. So, and I'm sure the people in the room will be amazing as well. So some kind of cool networking in there as well. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you again. And I look forward to watching you on Instagram myself. So.
Yay.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So listeners, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and she is so amazing. So I would highly recommend that you go to her site and check out the Shannon O'Dowd on Instagram, find out more about the workshop. And if you've ever wanted to feel confident and effective on stage or in front of a camera, whether you're entertaining or you're teaching people, this is really, really valuable stuff. There's probably nothing out there that will help your career more than being a good communicator and an excellent speaker. So that's today's show. You'll be able to find us on the Limit Free Life YouTube channel, on my Facebook page, Limit Free Life Facebook page, also on ubngo.com. And check us out if you like the shows. I'd love for you to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify or wherever. It shows up all over the place, iHeartRadio. And look forward to seeing you next week for another Limit Free Life show, where we talk about how you can have a career that you love.